Dun, 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 dun. Oh, wow. Okay, InShalla and Ashe. It appears as if I am connected. Super excited about that. Welcome to Wednesday, July 28th, and thanks for joining me for my daily snippet. Brought to you by, I decided to introduce myself because I'm kind of funny that way. My name is Tonya D. I'm a holistic Sha'Medium, and I also practice subtle energy, kind of like surgery, psychic surgery. I really don't like that terminology, but that's kind of what it is. And I realized recently that we truly are a labeling kind of society, labels. And I really don't like them, Sam, I am. But let's not go down that rabbit hole. The snippet of today is a loving attitude. But before we dive into that little narrative or aspects of our mind, let's muse about the elemental pathway or energy of the day, which is a yin fire, or what they call a ding day. So we got some bings and some dings. And I don't know about you, but have you started to kind of notice that there's a pattern? So we have the energy of the year, which has its influences and behaviors. We have the energy of the month, which is the parental influences. And it's kind of like what we're here to do in the earth plane. It's the branch of the month. That's where that energy comes from. So the day master, which I'm mostly focusing on the day-to-day, and the day branch itself, that's like our relationship with our love mate. So we have the yin fire ding, and right below it, we have the ox or the chow. And, you know, that would be our relationship to the person we're in relationship with, the intimate kind. So we also have the ox on the year stem. So the ox is the ruler of the northeast corner of a home. That's where that energy comes in from. I'm actually sitting in the southwest corner of mine, which is the direction for the sheep. But an ox person as an energy or a person or a behavior is really, 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 really like an ox. They're hardworking, have a ton of stamina. Even so, yin energy is actually, you know, you think of yin as maybe a declining, but actually yang energy breaks down faster. So an ox carries this vitality. It's like stabilized and never ending kind of energy and just plowing through things. So if you could kind of metaphysically think about an ox or muse about what an ox would be doing. But earth energy below a fire day master actually tells me that this partner is somebody who takes the energy from the person, costs them kind of their output in a way, so their performance. So they're always in a way of performing for their partner. And that's kind of who takes the energy from them in that aspect. So again, we have all this yin energy going on. And we really need to get out and move around on a day like today, whether movement is for you. It could be yoga, running a marathon, swimming. Me, I lift weights or do cardio. And it really doesn't matter as long as we go out and perform at something. Sitting around on a day like today will definitely make a body sluggish. Body, mind, body, soul, spirit, etc. So if you're already kind of a sluggish person, this is going to really kind of take a lot to get you moving. So I think I've said this before, Earth is our lymphatic system, the lymphatic circulation, and it's the only system that needs movement to get in its flow. You know, our heart pumps on its own, it moves the blood, the kidneys filter on their own, the bladder, the colon, they release on their own, the lungs through the breath, oxygenation, does it my live stream. Too funny. But here we go again. So the lymphatic system, it's like our career becomes empty with this blink of an eye. However, we have this heavenly protection grounding us into what element, do you think or see? I got to make sure I'm moving here, and it doesn't appear to be that I am. That's kind of curious. Hang on, let me do this. Bing. This is a fun kind of day, isn't it? Needing the internet to become active. Dun, 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 dun. Am I back? Woo! I'm online, it says. I don't see myself. Thanks for putting up with my crazy... Oh, there I am. Okay, cool. So again, what element do you think we should think or see as far as grounding on a day-to-day? Again, we always want to protect the day master, which is that yin fire energy. So I'm kind of feeling like we should utilize the wood energy, the healthy old wise tree that happens to be by a river or a creek. And you can actually just visualize this, look into a painting or a picture, maybe something that's floating on your social media page, Instagram, any of those kinds of things. Or if you're lucky enough to live close to the mountains or nature, just truly go be in it. The cosmic energy for today, it's to uncover our thoughts that are actually suppressing our unique love story. The ones that keep us from loving ourselves and living the life that we're ultimately meant to live. So you deserve that higher love that I actually talked about yesterday. And what do you think is the root cause for any toxic or negative thinking? We all know this because it seems to be a narrative lately. It's fear. And fear truly is a combination of anxiety, worry, doubt, and, down that rabbit hole. Now, ask yourself, who is the negative Nelly in your personal love story that's being the voice narrative? So once you discover that voice that's in your head, the racket, that negative pep talk, you feel, or you'll start to feel light. You'll be lifted up from what's weighing you down. The doors literally open up, and your heart is ready to receive insight into a brighter, illuminated future with a plethora of options that actually resonate with your love story, your personal love narrative. The kind of options that sometimes are, they're hard to imagine, to get us out of our little box, our little shell, and crack that shell. Sometimes we need to access this pre-birth state, like pre-birth, like we're in the womb, the original plan for this present lifetime. So getting just some assistance is evaluating our own progress. And we can get this from angelic beings. That's kind of where my derivative lately is beings in the other world, all of them, quite frankly, but angelics mostly. So just, accessing the progress that you've already made with all of those soul lessons for this current incarnation. So what happens is it brings about this multi-dimensional cellular healing. You can actually, I work a lot with Metatron and the Merkaba. That seems to be my thing, but there's all kinds of different shapes you can call in, and just understanding that diseases that lie behind those icky illnesses. That was kind of heavy in a strange kind of way, wasn't it? But today our mind is really online. So the mind is kind of like this command center that's aggressive and kind of wants our attention. So today, because our mind is online, your mind might just want to play a game with you, creating a problem because it wants to have some fun, or interesting and curious, questioning the narrative. That's kind of where I'm always going, is I'm always questioning the narrative and I'm staying curious. So you want to utilize your mind. You want to give it a job, because that is what it's truly for on a day like today, especially, but kind of every day. So its job is to only focus on love of ourselves, our personal love story. So we're exploring our relationship between our heart, because we're all heart-centric, and also our mind. And the mind has different states of consciousness to it. I think I talk about that in Change Your Stars. But I also call this getting out of your head and into your heart. Our heart is the queen or the king of our soul. But our mind will take over often the story of our heart, the directive of our heart. So it's kind of like having two conversations. What our inner queen wants, or our priestess, and what the court jester, the distraction, is trying to like pull us away from. So our mind is the worst asset for us a lot of times. It literally will squish out our wishes, stamps them out. So if you are bearing witness today, kind of like, you're bearing your soul to your mind being that negative Nelly, just squishing out the desires that resonate truly in your heart, in your personal love story, because that's what we're navigating, putting your, when the mind puts us down, when we speak those negative thoughts about ourselves to ourselves, don't you think that's a non-loving action of behavior? So this narrative is truly this false belief that we oftentimes might have about ourselves, and our mind has opened this filing cabinet or taken it off the shelf. Some things just need to be shelved, like not today, maybe tomorrow. And the false stories or narratives that you might be saying inside, most of the time it's that inside voice. It's not necessarily our outside one, but that false belief or narrative is literally online today. So you want to catch yourself in any thought patterns that's inflicting pain in your personal love story. You want to identify what it is, go out on a journey of discovery. What is the attitude my mind is taking? What is the language that my mind is using? I'm in the middle of upcycling my language. I have been in a cycle of dropping the F-bomb way, way, way too often. But honestly, sometimes it's fitting. So you kind of want to ask yourself, is that narrative, is it constructive or destructive? And these are actually forces. They resonate with our soul's harmonic, our ninth energetic center. So it's like this power versus forces. Sometimes we actually need the destructive force over the constructive force. It just kind of, you have to kind of sit back and feel into it, honestly. So do what you can, literally, to catch yourself in your narrative in that act. And when you observe this non-loving narrative, literally just stop, take a breath, take a pause, rewrite the thought, and create the model of your reality of what you want your story to be. So, have you ever noticed that people attract conversations or even people that actually mirror the way that they talk to themselves in their head, that inner voice? So if you are somebody who talks about others, sometimes that's a projection of how you really think about yourself. Woo! So shift the show story, those scripts, that inner narrative. You want to be aware today of being mindful of how you think about your personal love story. What is the loveless language? We have to shift the vibration and the frequency and rewrite that language with love, because honestly, that's our soul's prime directive. It's our inner genius in the scheme of the galactic universe. So the things that you will identify about yourself that really isn't that awesome will actually shed light, like the beam from the sun, almost immediately of a brighter star story, just shifting our own inner way of thinking about ourselves in the inside so we could shed that light on the outside. So go out and really adopt that voice, that inner dialogue, a voice of love in your head, and see where these thoughts take you next. So I try to stick with an attitude of gratitude, which isn't that easy in the day-to-day reality, or is it, because it's a perspective. What's curious about today is our solar plexus is activated today. So, it's the color of the sun, it's yellows, it's foods that are very active. So it's mental clarity. So anything that brightens up your day in those kinds of yellows and adds spark and light, you could even go to the other side of the yellow where it's like so white. It's like that white yellow, that effervescent white yellow. That's kind of the color that I kind of see today. And angelic beings that I would actually call in, I'm going to stick with Raziel. Did I already express that Raziel is like the high-level metaphysical lore? He's the Archangel of the season of Leo, and he can actually assist us in understanding the true meaning of all those symbols and scriptures. So I think those platonic solids and those harmonics of the dodecahedron. Oh, here we go again, sending the data. Am I live? Okay, I think I am. I apologize. I'm working on fixing this. But we have Zadkiel, which is the righteousness of God. I kind of like that, like the God universe when I say that. I think the universe is actually God myself. But this is the angel of mercy, forgiveness, and our memory, which is cool. He actually prevented Abraham from sacrificing his son. You know, you can read about this in quite a few of the different spiritual texts, the Jewish, the Kabbalah, the Torah. There's actually even the Bible. There's quite a few. But he assists in calling back our true compassion, loving ourselves, to our state of beingness. So he really sounds like the angel of bringing in self-love. He remembers everything, including the origins of the galactic universe, and he can assist us. I prefer the word assist over help. I don't know why. That's just my narrative. But he can assist us in remembering anything, including what's very curious and exciting, our divine origin. So, you know, that's pretty innovative, really. And also our life purpose, our reason for living, our soul's talent to absolutely love the skin we're in, because that's the journey we're on over these next few weeks. And then I realized I hadn't been giving the moon a lot of attention, but the moon is traveling through Aries today. So Aries actually resonates with our root center. So you could actually wear red today if you want, if you feel called to act or ground today to create that manifestation. And it's really like any shade of red. Just make sure that your narrative, that thought processor in your mind, is actually feeling into your intuition and allowing that to be your guiding light or your beam of energy. You could actually bring in that red light through your crown and base it into your root center to blast out and like start your manifestations. You could also, because of the Aries, you could call in Ariel. Ariel's like the Lioness of God, and I like that too, because the lioness, you know, sometimes I feel like a lioness, but it's the nature healer of Earth. Animals connecting with the spiritual realms of nature, in both the physical and the metaphysical. So, you know, those to me were like animal totems. So this is the angelic being to call in to really hold space in ritual for the realm of nature, to bring in those nature beings, if you want, or nature itself. Or if you want to create an environment or a beautiful garden, obviously I call in this archangel for my fairy realm and otherworldly beings more than the average Joe. That's just kind of my narrative. It's kind of, I love them. They're like my BFFs. So now this is kind of a dreary card I picked. I'm not going to lie. Continuing in the love pack, I probably should have shifted the story there. My friend recently found a really cool deck that I probably am going to go explore and get one for myself. But today we have this card called Specialness. And underneath you can see all the little lines. It says problem. So it's kind of interesting. It's a counterfeit form of love. That's why that resonates with our mind being the opposing force to loving ourselves in that narrative. So specialness actually destroys bonding because our specialness has become more important than that of our partner or relationship itself. So it can actually slide us off of our own uniqueness, our own soul story. So we actually hold other people hostage with our need to be treated as special. So we think specialness is love, but in reality, it's this insidious indulgence kind of thing. You can see the two people staring at themselves. It's kind of narcissistic when I look at it, and there's that rain cloud above it. So, see how creative our mind can be. So this card is literally asking us to examine whether or not we are demanding that others treat us in a special manner or a way. It's kind of a problem card, really, and you can see how this could manifest in reality. So it's a behavior that truly doesn't make us happy. It blocks love, and it stops us from evolving and feeling good about ourselves. So it's a way of, we're comparing ourselves to other people when we do this kind of comparison. we always feel pain in a way or insecurity. So it's truly time to embrace self-love with this card and shifting our show, our narrative, our script. So I thought of like a news narrative with the word special, tonight's special in it. Like this is a special presentation or something like that. And honestly, I think we are all special and unique at something. So ultimately, just acknowledging that aspect in your personal love story, that inner talent, is actually what's being called out on a day like today. So I always have some affirmations, or at least I try to. And an affirmation to get you on your way would be something like, I am loving my attitude today and my voice of unconditional love. And I am creating my own soul's narrative. So with that, have a blessed day, InShalla, Ashe, and as always, blessings to you. It appears I'm functioning now. I'll see you on the other side.